teenager in Nebraska and her mother are facing multiple charges after Facebook's parent company, Meta, turned over their private messages. Police say their messages prove the teen had an illegal abortion, as she and her mother told police it was an unexpected stillbirth. CNN's Alexander Field joins us.
About the idea that, yes, I'm not a woman, but you and I can have a conversation about what's right and wrong, because this is the nature of human reason. The nature of human reason, the nature of right and wrong, is that you and I can talk about what's right and wrong, and that I don't retreat into my identity. If we can all retreat into our identity, and our morality is now centered around that identity, morality doesn't exist at all. We break down into a society of fragmented atoms, where I can't even say, like, you're torturing a puppy in your backyard. I have nothing to say about that. I'm not a white woman who's in the healthcare field.
When Roe v. Wade was overturned, that state ready to take effect. Trigger laws in 13 states banned abortion immediately or soon after Roe was repealed, meaning the federal ruling triggers a state law banning abortion to go into effect. Some states are already seeing legal challenges to their trigger laws, and there are more lawsuits likely to follow.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are here today because the defendant, Brooke Richardson, murdered a baby that she didn't want and never intended to keep.
She's a great student. She started doing competitive cheer outside of the school.
Skylar has just learned she's pregnant, and she tells no one. Nobody knows about this.
Sometime when her mother, father, and brother were asleep, Skylar delivers a baby girl. She names her daughter Annabelle. And then she buries the remains in the backyard.
She did give birth to a newborn infant. He caused the death of that infant. She subsequently burned the infant.
They were on a one-way track to get her to confess so they could take her to jail.
People were ready to convict. There was false information everywhere. It was ugly.
She was determined to keep her secret.
Skylar did do an autopsy on the baby, and they found out that it was living at the time of birth, and he will go to jail. I never meant to kill my baby.
Fallout from the court's decision is no longer a constitutional right in this country. More than half of women questioned in a latest CBS News poll said that overturning Roe v. Wade, this decision we're talking about, will make women's lives worse. But not all.
Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video so far, please don't forget to like and share.
This is where I was standing when This is what my bank account looked like. And this is the show I was watching with my boyfriend while I was freaking out over how to tell him. I was about to start a new job. I was about to turn 27. And now I had to choose, have a baby or somehow find a way to be my own abortion doctor.
We are the post-Roe generation!
Americans just had their constitutional right to abortion ripped away. Now, millions of women live in states with little or no abortion access. In September, my home state of Texas got a head start on this.
The life of every unborn child who has a heartbeat will be saved from the ravages of abortion.
So I have already experienced a preview of your future.
I was a confused teenager, and one of the things that I did that completely drove my mother crazy was to get involved in relationships ever so often, and usually with guys who were considered less than desirable. I felt like the more I could infuriate my mother, the better I felt. So I would be hanging out with all these funny people at Far East Plaza those days, and wouldn't come home, stay out late, tell lies, sneak out of the house in the middle of the night, things like this lah. That diagnosis just felt like a death sentence. I remember the blood draining from my head. I felt faint. I felt like screaming. I felt like running away, but I felt so desperate for help. I remember I was almost pleading with the doctor to help me. I had to be induced in labor through drugs, and I went through 8 hours of regular labor pains for 8 hours, and eventually pushed out a dead baby. And yeah, it was a trauma that I don't wish on anyone ever.
My name's Melanie.
My name's Alyssa.
I had an abortion when I was 24.
When I was 18, I had an abortion. I basically missed a pill. I was on birth control. I got a pregnancy test, and I was pregnant. Basically, I was college bound and not interested in having children. So I knew it was the right decision because I didn't want to be a single mom at 17.
So I went and got a pregnancy test at the health center I was in college. They didn't do a good job of even telling me what my options were. It was a quick turnaround for me. Didn't think twice about it. I knew exactly what I wanted.
After I found out I was pregnant and made the decision to have an abortion, I immediately told a close friend of mine who lived in the city. And then I told my sisters. The last person I told in my family was my grandmother. Everyone that I told specifically because I felt that I would be supported by them, and I was.
I didn't regret the actual abortion. I know I made the right decision for myself at that moment in my life. Pardon. The regret that I felt was that I wasn't at the right point in my life to have a child. And that's That's what hurt the most. I want to be a mother, and I know I'm going to be a great mother. I'm not there right now, and I want to make sure that when I have my first child, that I'm completely prepared and that I'm ready to go, and there's no concern over, financial security or me having a partner or people around me to support me.
Women make a decision to have children, and it can be a really critical decision for one person's life. And there's a lot of flexibility around that decision making, that choice, being able to call yourself a parent or to carry a pregnancy to term. And that doesn't exist for abortion. It all comes from the same place. It's a reproductive decision.
We live in a country who doesn't provide access to comprehensive sex education, doesn't teach people how to protect themselves from pregnancy. And then when a person does become pregnant because they don't know how to protect themselves and they couldn't pay for birth control, we tell them that having an abortion is the wrong thing to do, when in fact it's entirely up to them. Once they have a child that they can't afford and didn't want, we then reject them for asking for social services from the country. It's a really disgusting vortex of oppressiveness.
If someone had forced me to have that child, or if I didn't have the option to have had that child, I don't know where my life would be. And yeah, I'm really grateful that I did have the option. And I can't imagine that there might be a time where we don't have the option.
I don't regret having my abortion. Sometimes I wonder if I should, because there is stigma around that. But that's not coming from a genuine place inside my heart. I feel as if women are expected to feel guilty about their abortions. And without the support and convictions that I had and that I was able to nurture, I might have fallen to that shame, to that regret, to the stigma, but I didn't, and I don't.
The debate about abortion revolves around women's rights, but it's also important to consider the potential role of men. Abortion is a complex issue that has varying legal, ethical, and religious implications around the world, and therefore men should have a say in the decision. Men have the legal right to be involved in the decision, although this varies from country to country. Ethically, men should have the right to voice their opinion and give consent. Men have the right to insist on parental responsibility and to be protected from exploitation by others. Finally, religious communities tend to be less supportive of men's involvement, as they believe men should not be part of this decision. In conclusion, men should have the right to be involved in the decision of abortion, although it varies from one country to the next. Furthermore, men should have the right to voice their opinion and give consent, as well as to insist on parental responsibility. What do you think? Give us your take in the comments section. Thank you for watching. Please be kind and like, subscribe, and share to support our channel.